So we have a 2020 Ford Expedition in the shop today. This Expedition has been taken to multiple different shops for a very odd problem it has. You can drive it for up to 30 minutes and then all of a sudden the bore motor will stay on in the front, but there will be no airflow at all. Multiple shops have tried to address the issue and fix it, but they were unable to locate it or find out what was wrong. So today we're going to go ahead and take it on a test drive, see what we can find, see if we can replicate the issue, and then from there we'll go ahead and look at live data on the test drive and see if there's any correlation between maybe evaporator temp or maybe there's a mode door actuator getting stuck halfway closed. We don't know yet, but we're going to go ahead and drive it, see if we can replicate the issue, and then we'll pick up from there. So we're about 15 minutes in. Our evaporator core temp is just cruising at 33. I've got the temperature set at 70 right now just because it's too cold to run this thing at full blast on low without shivering to death. So we got it sitting at 70. But so far we have airflow. Nothing's changing yet, but we're going to continue driving and
till we figure this out.
Figure out what's going on. So far we've made it from the northeast side of San Antonio. We're heading to the northwest side.
Yeah, you can see all the growth going on out here.
Yeah.
We're all into driving like roller coasters out here. You can see all this stuff. Yeah, we're kind of growing out here in San Antonio, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is what you get, guys, when you come to San Antonio, Houston, Dallas, Austin's even crazier.
So we got it driving right now. Our evaporator core temp has been fine this entire time, but I noticed after having the blower motor kind of low for a while and then turning it back up, our airflow, we have airflow, but it is very, very weak, and I am suspecting this is what our client is referencing when she's saying that it doesn't work properly. So I'm willing to bet that we have potentially a stuck blend door, or maybe an actuator that's closed off a door. It's got to be within our actuator system and our blend door system. So that's where we're at right now.
And then plus back here,
the rear's blowing just fine.
Yeah. So that's exactly what it is, because you can see this has not changed for 30 something minutes that we've been driving around. Okay, we're back at the shop. We've been driving this vehicle for almost an hour, and the AC is running full blast right now. Do you notice what's not happening? Yeah, you should be seeing it down there.
Right.
Okay, Nick, so where are we at now?
Right now I'm just trying to get some of this stuff out of the way so I can get a better look at this whole blower box back here, so I can potentially find a way into the evaporator core to put a bore scope up in there and see what's going on.
So there was no condensation on the ground outside. There's no air coming out of the vents up here. Yeah. A very small amount here, but no air is coming out anywhere else.
Not really, no.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's why we got to dig in here to the evaporator core.
Because now it's running like a summer. It's now flooded. Yeah. It's freezing up. It's freezing up. It's freezing up. Honestly. Does this have a cabin air filter? Was it dirty? No? Can you see? You can't see the evaporator filter.
That's a flood.
Alright, so picking back up from where I left off, we went ahead and recovered the system, and now I've got it hooked up on a pressure test. I've got it set at just under 250 psi. I'm going to let the pressures equal out. I'm going to lock off my gauges, and then I'm going to use my sniffer tool to probe around known leak spots. And I'm going to probe the evaporator drain and see if we can locate a leak on this. Basically, you pull the system down and we pull it under a vacuum before we pressure test to alleviate any excess air in the system. So with that, when we pressure test a system versus doing a vacuum test like most shops will do, is that we're able to find leaks much quicker and much more efficiently. If you just do a leak down test or a vacuum test, sometimes things can get sealed up if they're vacuumed back shut. Like sometimes hoses, if it's a small enough leak, it can pull that rubber back and it can give you a false test. If there's a obscure leak or something that just isn't able to be picked up through dye, like if you want to look at evaporators, you're never going to see an evaporator. Like on this one, I can't even get a borescope down into an evaporator and hit it with a UV light. You know, it's not going to work. So utilizing pressure testing, we were able to actually put probes in spots where airflow can leak out, and that'll actually pick up on that and it'll tell us where it's coming from.
That's why a lot of shops kind of throw parts at it.
Well, yeah, because they typically
it.
use a Robin-Air machine, which, you know, if the new ones, I'm not sure because I haven't used a Robin-Air machine in about 3 years. But most of the time, you'll put it on a timer, it'll put it on a vacuum, and then it'll do vacuum hold test, and it'll set a timer and watch if the vacuum comes up, and if it comes up a certain amount, then it'll alert you that there's a leak. But if you have a leak and you have it on a Robin-Air machine and it doesn't detect any leaks, but it's still got a leak, most techs are just going to put oil and dye in it, charge it up, charge the customer, especially if it's a 1234yf system. Most shops and a lot of charges come out to $500 to $600 for a service for a 1234yf system, depending on the shop. And we try to eliminate that as much as we can by catching the leak the first time. That way the customer can get an estimate. We can charge it up if they request it. And then if they want to get it done, they know what they need to get done.
Which is kind of what this lady's been going through.
Exactly.
We are in the third shop that she did?
Yes.
Yeah, we're the third shop she's been to.
So she's had to pay for a diag at each shop. They've probably thrown a condenser or
And they've probably charged her for the Freon every single time.
Right. So by the time she finally got to us.
So that's 3 shops, let's say it's 500. That's $1,500 that she's already spent just on diagnosis.
Right.
So
that's kind of one of the big benefits of what we do. We're able to much more accurately
That's what
find
separates
the
us
leaks.
from most other shops, that we have other methods of testing that are more thorough.
Yeah,
So-
which is why we have people who end up coming here after going to 1,
Exactly.
2, 3 other places.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. All right, thanks, buddy.